You're live.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 10th annual State of the Village meeting. As we all are doing these days, we are coping with the current situation and making use of technology. And we are really hoping that things go well technology-wise, and we'll go from there. So at every Rotary meeting, we start it with the ringing of the bell. So I'm going to ring it there. I would like, as people connect in online, if anybody online can raise their hand or put in the chat if you can hear and see everything fine. We don't want to go about 15 minutes here and realize that nobody that's connected via Zoom can hear what's going on here. So, okay, so we're getting a thumbs up that things are working well. All right, so I am Jim Cotturone, current president of the Mukwonago Rotary Club. Great to have you here. We look forward to hearing from our Village of Mukwonago leadership. But as we do every Rotary meeting, we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So we do have a small group here in the library, so we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thanks everybody. We're going to get some slides up here. Through a combination of technology as well as a small group of attendees here at the library. We can go on to the next slide. We'd like to welcome some local community and business leaders. We of course have our village leadership here. We're going to hear from Fred Winchowky, as well as Diana Dykstra, and our new village administrator, Fred Schook. Online and in here, we also have various village leadership, including village trustees, Chamber of Commerce. Sean McNulty is here from the school district. Chief Strite is at training, but I think he's online, and the fire chief. And we have our local leadership representing us in Madison here as well. State Senator Steve Nass and Representative Cody Horlock are here as well. So good to have you all here, as well as business leaders and community members. Welcome to the event. We at Rotary Club of Mukwonago are a small but mighty group, and I serve as president, but by no means is this a one-person show. Our current board of directors are people you may know from in and around the community. This is our current board of directors. We're a secretary, community service project director, membership director on down, representing local business as well as school district and others. So as a team, I also want to thank those who helped put this on. It is a challenge not only to have in person, that's a challenge. Online is another challenge, and putting those together obviously is something that takes a team effort. So I want to thank the committee who put this on. Rachel Gabrielle is here from Pro Health. She headed up our committee, as well as Steph Bonesteel from Citizens Bank. Jerry Pfeiffer is always involved in all of our projects. Diana Dykstra at the village was critical in putting this together. And to help our technology and coordinate that, we have Abby Armour here from the library, who's running the computer and set up the webinar and all that. So thanks everybody for your help on that. So Rotary is an international organization, but we are given the ability to, of course, focus on the local community and in our support. But we never forget that we are an international organization and keep that in mind. So we're gonna have a 1-minute video here that just kind of gives an overview of Rotary with an international flavor. And then we'll go in and I'll have a few words to say about some things we've been doing here locally. So let's bring up the video and we'll start testing the technology here.
It's right here.
There we go.
Yep. I want to make sure it's shared. No, where did it go?
No.
Ah,
Move on.
I guess I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
All right. So Rotary is an organization of 1.2 million people around the world, and as many of you know, it was started by a gentleman who grew up in Racine, Wisconsin, and started the club down in Chicago, Paul Harris. If we could go to the slides, please. Okay, next slide. All right, so for decades now, one of the primary focuses of Rotary, but not the only focus, has been on polio eradication. So I thought I'd put a few stats on here. Initial efforts started in 1979 in the Philippines, but since then, and of course, we're all too familiar with virus numbers now, unfortunately, over the last couple of years. But cases worldwide have fallen almost 100%, 99.9% since efforts began in 1979. Rotarians have financially contributed and raised more than $2 billion. A lot of help from the Bill Gates Foundation as well over the past decade or so. Obviously, countless volunteer hours protect nearly 3 billion children over in 122 nations. Cases are now in the single digits, if not dozens, only in Pakistan and Afghanistan. And we know all too well about the need to keep a virus located in one area of the world so it doesn't spread elsewhere. So that's a continued focus. Other areas of focus, promoting peace, fighting disease, and others. The new one as of July 1st of this last year is protecting the environment and working toward those goals. And everything we do as individual Rotarians and a Rotary as a whole is we're guided by the four-way test, which we will recite at the end of the meeting. Next slide, please. We are a club of about 35 individuals. We're proud to have corporate memberships, and these following important organizations are corporate members and have individual members as part of our club, including the Village, the Mukwonago School District, Citizens Bank, and Pro Health. Certainly, if if a corporation or your organization is looking to get involved in the local community and get involved in a service organization, this is a great not time-killing way to allocate some resources and some time and become part of the local community and the community organization. So see one of us Rotarians about a corporate membership if that might be good for your business or organization. You see us out there raising funds. We had a very successful, the most successful ever jack-o'-lantern jaunt this past fall. You've seen us out there serving beer and seltzer and other adult beverages at Balloons Over Mukwonago and elsewhere, but that money does not stay with us. It goes back out into the community. Over the last few years, we've made the following donations. Most recently, Life's Connections this past fall. The Robotics Club we support. We donated for tree plantings in and around the new performance stage. So when you see the trees going in there, that's in large part because of our donation. Like a lot of us, we donated to the Waukesha Parade Tragedy Relief Funds, Norris Academy, and of course, on a regular basis, we support the pantry and kitchen cupboard. And Ed Foundation a few years ago, we were able to make a large $30,000 donation and such. So we work very hard as a board and as a club to bring money in, but also to have it go back out into the community. Other projects, Adopt a Family, we're involved in Park Walk for Cancer. We packed some food this past year. Of course, the State of the Village, National Night Out, we're out there with snow cones. We are focused on the local community, but we also want to keep an international focus as well, or international reach. So Shelter Box International is an important international organization that provides emergency shelter during times of disaster. If you hear about a typhoon hitting Bangladesh and unfortunately killing 200 people or so, chances are within weeks or days, Shelter Box International is out there with temporary shelter to help them. So we regularly donate to them. We have clean water projects in Guatemala and Haiti. As a matter of fact, we have 2 club members who are traveling to Guatemala next month to deliver water filters that we are helping to fund and delivering them and seeing how the effect it has on the families down in Guatemala. And this last year, we donated funds for 15 vented stoves, and that's what the picture is, because they were using like campfires literally inside their house and asphyxiation and everything else. These are vented stoves, and we've seen video and such. So we don't like to just write checks arbitrarily to international efforts. We like to have a focused pinpoint so we can see results. And with two of our members, Rick Debe and Mark Logic, going down there, we're going to get some hands-on support, evidence of our support. Fundraising events, talked about Jack Lantern Jaunt. It was the biggest ever. Obviously, the weather has something to do, but it was busy, and we're working on expanding that and expanding vendors for this coming fall. We've partnered with the ladies and the families that have been doing it for 18 years now. We're going to be doing a Playhouse raffle, so you're going to see us out there again this year, selling raffle tickets in the Pick and Save parking lot at Maxwell Street Days. Good hands-on training for the building trades classes at the high school, and a fundraiser for us. Any events that we're going to have, outdoor stage events, you can see us out there handing out spotted cows and everything else. We've recently done another drive-through beer garden, getting creative during this time of COVID. And Rotary Presents, we did two Mukwonago's Got Talent, 1 and 2. And we are finally, going to the next slide, please, going to have an evening with John McGivern. It was originally scheduled for 23 months ago. We are going to have the show on February 26th. We still have about 2/3 of the tickets still are outstanding. If you have them, if you forgot that you had them or you don't know where your tickets are, let us know. But available tickets are going to go back up for sale on next Friday, February 4th at 10 a.m. And emails and Facebook posts and all that will be coming on that. So we're looking forward to having John McGivern at the Performing Arts Center at the high school and getting past and getting that fundraiser and show completed. Next slide. That is it for me. We are honored to have our village leadership. This is who is going to address you this morning. Our next presenter needs little introduction. It is the 10th year that, and it has grown from about 30 people in the basement of Village Hall to as many as 120 here. And now we have however many we have in person and mostly online today. So without any further delay, Fred, please.
Thank you. Hope you're all clapping at the end. Morning. Thanks, Jim and Rotary, for being here in person and all you online. I appreciate the Rotary Club giving us the opportunity to share with all of you the state of the village. The village is in good financial shape. The village has reached a milestone, in my opinion. Equalized value increased $44 million. The total equalized value now stands at $1,037,875,000. People are still building new homes and businesses continue to reinvest as well in the community. But we are now $1 billion community. That's really a milestone in my opinion. We will be paying off over $2.7 million in debt. Also, we have been able to increase the size of our reserve funds. These funds are held to cover emergencies. Our department heads are very good at sticking to their budgets. Our annual audit was again handled by Baker Tilly. The finance director, Diane Dougherty, stated we came out just fine and met all our legal requirements. We are again able to maintain our AA bond rating. This allows us to borrow money at the lowest rates possible. Ellers reviewed our TID projects and they are in good standing as well. Maybe not perfect, but they're in good standing. And this is all very positive news for the village going forward. Part of our success continues to be with the housing market. Homes are selling at record rates. Some sell in a weekend. The Waukesha County housing market is still in the seller's favor. According to a January newspaper report, there remains a shortage of supply for first-time buyers. The first-time buyer is the one that's having the problems now. New home prices are $400,000 or even $500,000 to start out. You can follow the local area home sales in the Sunday Journal. The cost of materials and delays of all sorts are driving prices only upwards. Interest rates are now trending higher. However, they still rate historic lows. Just look at all those new homes in Fairwinds being built by Belinsky. Belinsky will be expanding northward into phase 4 during this next spring and summer, adding around 80 new home sites. They won't all be built in 1 year, obviously, but it takes time. They also have started 8 of their condos projects along the Chapman Farm area. Miners Estates has put in the utilities and roads for their phase 4. They will be having 20 to 40 new home sites there available as well. This is located just west of the high school, just before Highway I. When I take my Sunday drive to check on various projects around the village, I now include driving by those homes listed as recently sold in the Sunday paper. It is truly amazing to see the prices being paid for these existing homes in the various older subdivisions. So that leads into just why are people so anxious to move here? Well, most often it's because of our school system. Yeah, Sean. I recently spoke with Sean McNulty during one of our BRE meetings we had this year. All 6 of the elementary schools have received 5-star ratings from the Department of Public Education or Public Instruction. The high school and junior high received 4-star ratings just as well. With the COVID issue this last year, they were able to stay open and continue face-to-face teaching. This is so important for the development of our young students, and interaction with their peers and teachers just cannot be underrated. Without home developments in the various communities, they can handle additional student enrollment without expanding any schools or a need to build new ones. Remember, our school district covers 90 square miles. There are over 5,000 students currently enrolled, and 600 of those are students from open enrollments. So they have plenty of room in the district for enrollments. Now, they still need to remodel and update school buildings, as some of them are getting to 20, 30, 40 years. So work still needs to be done, but building new is not likely. He also wanted me to mention they are looking for qualified substitute teachers to help out during COVID. So there you got your plug, Sean.
Thank you, Fred.
The Mukwonago Chamber of Commerce is one reason our community is so active. Unfortunately, we will not be having another balloon festival this year. However, the schedule of events for the coming year is still very full. The Farmers Market in Field Park will start up in May and go through October again. There are even more vendors signed up for this season. Some of the attendance numbers were down, but still very good, and they look to be better as we come out of this latest round of COVID. They will have the Spring Fling in April, the annual golf event in June. Fall Fest will come in September, and that is a great fall fest and has defied the COVID issue with the great attendance. If you did attend it last year, it was very active, very, very well attended. The Christmas celebration will continue with their annual Midnight Magic event the first weekend in December. It will include the parade, carriage rides, dog sled pulls, and finish off with the fireworks display. The indoor market will be held again at the high school. And we cannot let the horrific actions of an individual sway our support for those victims of that terrible day in Waukesha. Our support and prayers will be forever with them all. Our chamber does remain very strong, and April said there are over 250 members in the Mukwonago area and surrounding area. So it's not just the village of Mukwonago. Our Downtown Development Committee, chaired by Trustee Adler, continues their work. They have finalized the banner program with Mr. Fellows, our planner, and we should see these up sometime in the spring. Also, they have finalized part of the wayfinding sign program that has been presented to the village board, and now we will start to pick out what locations will be listed for those directions, and the library will be one of them. Lastly, the streetscaping design program also will continue and move forward. We'll be working with the state and installing some temporary, what they call bump outs in the downtown area near the crosswalks to see how they'll work and how they're going to interact with traffic. During 2021, the biggest street project completed was the Jefferson Street area between Highways 83 and Main Street. This involved replacing a lot of curb, some sidewalks, and most of the storm drains. Throughout the rest of the village, 3,000 square feet of sidewalk was repaired or replaced, including areas in Miners West and Fairwinds Phase 1. If you see a sidewalk that you feel needs repair, please contact Ron Bittner at our Public Works office with that information. You may find it's already on the repair list, but please call. The DPW, along with our police department, have installed additional crosswalk warning flashers throughout the community. They are similar to the ones in front of the Portland Road. The new locations are Main Street at Rivercrest, that's near Indian Head Park, Holtz Parkway at Perkins Drive, near the multi-use trail in the industrial park. Veterans Parkway at Clarendon Avenue School at Hawks Ridge. Veterans Parkway at River Park Circle West, and that's the entrance to the River Park Estates. The last one that may be installed could be at Oakland and Fox Street at the McKenzie Drive at that intersection. That's the road that goes back to Winchowky Park and the Small Farm subdivision. These units cost about $7,200 per pair and are solar powered. They were installed by the Public Works crew. Please, when you are driving and you see these flashing lights, be alert for pedestrians in that crosswalk area. Remember, the law is you yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk. So please stay alert when you see these yellow flashing lights. Now, the biggest project completed by Public Works in the park system was the outdoor performance stage in Indian Head Park. That's near the back side of the Village Hall. This project has its roots long ago, and it has been kicked around for years, literally years. I've lived in the village nearly 50 years now, and I know it has been talked about since at least the late 80s. Former village trustees, Kay Herm, Donna Rush, Dane O'Dear, John Hogan, and many others have tried to bring something like this to the village. Cost, location, cost, over and over again. A couple times it sort of got started, but failed. Well, I'm very pleased and happy to say the outdoor stage is built. The electric is up to it, so it's built and it's ready to go. All those supporters and non-supporters can see the results of their efforts. Our first outdoor concert will be held in June. Thanks to Ron Bittner, trustee Jim Decker, Rooker and Milky, and the village residents for their efforts to make this available for everybody in the future. Now, the PowerPoint coming up will cover some of the projects that we're going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, but not all of them. First, and probably the most asked questions asked about a project for me was, quote, what is going into the Lobdell Century Store at Greenridge? As you know, the Century Store has been gone for well over 20 years, and this space has been basically vacant. Well, a secondhand store called the Circle of Friends has moved into this 3,000 square foot space. I spoke with Sherry Lika, who is in charge of the store. The group is a 501(c) nonprofit store. This is their second location. Their first store and headquarters is in the city of Elkhorn. They work with churches such as St. James and provide needed clothing and other items for those families in need. Recent programs help support a winter coat program that provided over 200 winter coats. They accept donations but do not recycle items. They also have a money roundup program with funds then going to a selected family in need in the community. They have been in Elkhorn since 2001. They also promote what they call safe place programs for schools for children. She advised her board lease the building from the Greenwald LLC for 10 years. The building did require considerable repairs and replacement of furnaces, lighting, a new fire suppression system, and so forth. She stated they had invested over $200,000 in the building before they could open up for business. She feels they have been well received by our community and looks forward to helping those in need. Recently, they took supplies and items that helped over 400 people and families in the Christmas Mayville, Kentucky disaster, the tornado down there. So they do go outside the area. I wish them well and welcome to Mukwonago. So how are some of the others doing? Well, I'm truly happy to share this information with the permission of Matt. I'm going to murder your name again, Glusi. Matt, the IDC Corporation is staying in Mukwonago. They have completed a deal for the old Banker Wire building for $8 million. Boy, this was a long project that spans nearly 10 years. I know we tried to find a way to get them to build a new building out in TID 5, but it just wasn't to be. However, this move will give them all that space they needed to consolidate their units under one roof and give them an extra 30,000 square feet expansion for the future. Again, I told Matt I would plug this for him. If you know anyone who's looking for 30,000 square feet of storage space, call Matt at IDC. Paid announcement. Joe Schaefer and Matt have been in touch with us for years, and we are very pleased that they were able to work this out and stay in our village. The remodel will start in April and will involve about 107,000 square feet. They hope to move all of their operations into this new location in September and in October. Now, the purchase and the remodel will be around a $10 million investment. They currently employ 145 people. They expect to hire 5 to 10 new positions over the next 3 years. Their old building is up for sale now. IDC stands for, let me get this right now, Instrument Development Corporation. They are a precision manufacturing company that makes parts used by Lockheed Martin, Honeywell, and others in the aerospace industry. They have been in our community since 1988. They are a great partner with the Mukwonago High School, and they have sponsored the school's industrial wing with money and equipment for the next 10 years. This is a low impact and low environmental impact manufacturer. Thanks to Matt and Joe and all the others at IDC for investing in our community, and just as importantly, for investing in our students in our schools. The next one I'm going to mention is Banker Wire. Dave Stout's company is adding 59,000 square feet to their new building. They just moved in. They're adding 59,000 square feet. This will bring the building to just over 245,000 square feet. The addition will match the existing structure in colors and style. This will include roughly 160 feet of precast insulated cement panels that are superior to cement block construction. They are currently at 186 employees working on 3 shifts. When this project is completed, he expects to add another 25 jobs to the staff. The value of this project is estimated to be right around $3.4 million. However, he told me once the extra equipment has been installed, it will be closer to a $4 million new investment. This is another business that works with both area high schools, including Mukwonago and East Troy. They are currently training 9 high school students in welding related jobs. As you may already know, they do woven wire projects and fencing. Some of the projects include the Lambeau Field atrium, the LA Chargers Big Blue, the stadium, it's the big tiles in the ceiling. Kenworth semi-truck grills, when you see those on the interstate. And one that I always try to mention is the fencing around the Statue of Liberty, plus many other architectural designs throughout the nation. Also, they use all recycled steel and other metal materials from a metal plant in Saukville, Wisconsin, receiving several truckloads a day. Some of their new machines had to actually come from Japan or Canada because they're not available in the States. Now next, take a quick drink. The Lynch Automotive Group is also expanding in our village this spring. They're adding an additional 6,000 square feet to the Chrysler Jeep building. This addition will match the existing building in style and colors and materials. I have to say, I have learned that phase from Mr. Fellows. Building style, colors, and materials. The addition is for 6 additional service bays for car repairs and service. The value of the project is over $2 million. The Lynch family continues to invest in their business and our community with projects such as this. When completed, the project will also require additional skilled workers, so they help with job creation as well. Lynch has also been one of those area businesses that has partnered with our Mukwonago school system. They donate various pieces of equipment like wheel balancers and front-end alignment tools to help train students at the high school. They are also involved with various internships to train and help students obtain scholarships. This last year, they even sponsored a drive-in movie night that was set up by the high school tennis courts. Proceeds were donated to the Mukwonago Schools Family Relief Program. Thank you, Mark Green and the whole Lynch family for their continued commitment to our community. Now the hospital. On Monday, I put the date on here, but this last Monday, the 24th, I was invited to speak at the ribbon cutting for the new Pro Healthcare Hospital. CEO Susan Edwards and other officials of Pro Healthcare were also in attendance. Pro Health had made a very tough decision to keep this event on a small scale because of their concerns for COVID-19 issues, especially in a hospital setting. This project, the hospital, has been a long time coming. In February of 2019, we all met there to start the project. It really started back in the 1990s when ProHealth opened offices at 400 Bayview Road. In 2003, they started a new building, which is 240 Maple Avenue, which continued to meet the ever-increasing needs of our community and the surrounding areas. 2013, ProHealth invested over $38 million in a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week emergency room, which opened in 2015. There was always talk that someday there would be a full-service hospital. Well, all these years of planning, the setbacks, price increases for steel, which were just absolutely staggering, and other materials, and then COVID-19 strikes. And then there were delays for COVID-19 for delivery of products and workers on site. Yet through it all, Pro Healthcare kept the project moving forward to the opening date. They started taking patients as we cut the ribbon at 9 a.m. on that morning. They knew there was a need for these services in not only the village, but in the surrounding areas as well. They are committed to their patients' needs and care. This hospital will provide primary care, inpatient and outpatient surgeries, laboratory services, 24 rooms, a dietary kitchen, cancer center, and so much more. Also, it brings over 100 new jobs to this area. Seeing the county exec Paul Farrow there showed me that this is more than just a village thing. This is a very positive project that benefits our county and so many of the surrounding communities, such as East Troy, Waterford, Wind Lake, New Berlin, Vernon, and so on. Thanks again to Ms. Susan Edwards and Pro Healthcare for investing in our community. And more importantly, thank you for investing in the future health of the residents throughout the area. If you want the recent issue of Mukwonago Times has a real good article and pictures and shows the up close inside, if you're interested. Birch Rock Castle Senior Living has finally started their project. This is located on Mukwonago Drive. They're adding 20 new units for assisted living, including both studio and 1-bedroom apartments. These units will include a common patio area. Also will be connected to the 20 units that are currently on site, making for a total of 40 units. They expect the project to be completed in July or August, and this will be a great addition to our senior housing needs. Fleury Auto Body and Repair on Main Street is also expanding again. They did a major remodel in 2018, as you may recall. They now have also house the enterprise car rental. Jim said they are so busy, they needed to expand again. They're adding 6,000 square feet to the new building. Colors and materials will match the existing building. Mr. Fleury said, I've known Jim a long time. Jim said he will increase his employees from 12 to 14 full-time to handle the additional workload. The separate enterprise car rental will also include a full-time employee for the expanded business hours. Again, we really appreciate to see local businesses reinvesting in themselves and in our village. Some other quick updates. I spoke with Mike Sandelback at Walmart. The store hours have been expanded again. They are back up to the 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. hours. They are unlikely to go back to 24 hours per corporate decision. The curbside pickup continues to grow, and the company will be investing in more time slots in the coming year. They continue to look for full-time employees and have also partnered with the Mukwonago High School to provide jobs for students. Sales were actually up last year by nearly 5%. The store pharmacy has the highest immunization numbers for the surrounding area. Also, the Walmart Foundation has donated over $8,000 to various charities throughout the area. Jack Weber over at Seniors on the Go Taxi told me they did over 34,000 rides last year. 34,000 rides during COVID. That is amazing. If those of you who have been here for a while understand where that program started. They drove 542,261 miles and used 27,648 gallons of gas. The average ride is 15 miles. They currently have 23 vehicles and spend over $55,000 in vehicle maintenance, all of it spent in the village. Drivers will be paid $15 an hour starting in March of 2022. They have a great relationship with Mukwonago school system, providing much needed transport for students. This continues to be a very useful service for our community. Okay, as you came here today, you may have noticed the new historic district signs that are around the library area. Majority of the money for these signs came from the family of John Hogan. John was a former village president and trustee. He was very interested in the history of Mukwonago and was always interested in the history behind the many century old homes that you see in this immediate area around us. During Fall Fest, the Mukwonago Museum had reenactors at some of these homes and at the various grave sites in Oak Knoll Cemetery to explain about some of these people from our village's past. It was very interesting, and I hope they continue to do this next year in the Fall Fest coming up. The YMCA continues to recover from being shut down for so long. I spoke with Rick Swan recently. He said their daily attendance is going upwards slowly. They're up to around 2,300 people per day, still behind the numbers of 2019. People are returning, but slowly, he says, very slowly. The child care program after school for 4K and nursery is doing much better. They follow a rule of by choice masking policy in the building. They do have new programs for members only, which include virtual classes online. They need staff, and he is hopeful that the increase in wages will help. Still very hard to find, very hard time for gyms. The library continues to work through the COVID crisis as well, as we see. Attendance numbers are still down from 2019, but whose numbers aren't. However, they are improving. During the Midnight Magic Christmas tree lighting, they had 150 people attend. Now that's considerably more than we've had for tree lightings in the past, so it's going in the right direction. The new librarian, Abby Armour, is working with Mukwonago High School to try and bring back the cultural folk fair this summer, or this year, sometime this year. This was an extremely popular event. Also, they'll be involved in a program where you will be able to pick up items after hours from storage lockers that allow you to access a code to open the locked door. So don't have to be here during regular hours. As you can see, despite the current and seemingly endless COVID crisis, all the commotion in Washington and the world as a whole, our village continues to move forward and grow. I credit that to all the people who live and work here and the service clubs. We all continue to try to solve problems. We try to solve problems. There are plenty of them. We adapt to change and move forward. We favor progress, not retreating. When we see so many people investing in our community, so many, as I've read, you cannot help but be positive about our future and the future of the village. So with that, thank you for your time and patience, and I'll pass it off to who's next.
Well, I think I should just go home because that was just so outstanding. Thank you very much. Folks, we appreciate you waking up early this morning and taking the opportunity to listen to some of our advancements. I have some slides here that we're going to share with you just to briefly go over some of the accomplishments we had over the last year and maybe some of the places that we're going this year. So there may be some duplication, Fred, because you stole all my thunder, but that's okay. First slide here, we'll talk a little bit about our population changes. This is one thing that as a clerk-treasurer, I always hit on when we go to a community, and that's making sure that you understand where your jurisdictional boundaries are and that we lie within 2 counties, which is pretty significant. Both Walworth and Waukesha County portions make up our population of 8,195 as of this last estimate. So 79, 78 make up Waukesha County and 217 for our Walworth. So this year, as Fred hit on, this has definitely been a year of change for us. Our police chief, Dan Streit, was promoted following the retirement of Kevin Schmidt. And we had a reorganization promoting Chris D'Amato as assistant chief. So we're very excited about those changes here. We hired a new planner, John Fellows. We promoted Wayne Castle to utilities director. We hired our new library director, Abby Armour. Thank you, Abby, for doing all the technology here today. We can do
I'm
this
always
without
happy,
you.
I'm always happy to battle technology.
Absolutely. So, and we promoted Tim Rutenbeck to our building inspection supervisor following the retirement of Bob Harley. Everybody probably remembers Bob Harley. And then we hired a new building inspector, Corey Eifert. And last but not least, we hired our new village administrator, Fred Schnook. So lots of changes coming up this year. So in 2021, we had to continue our pandemic response and adapt to alternative methods of the delivery of government services. So we improved online permitting. We had conducted some virtual meetings when necessary. We expanded our online payment methods. We did have to conduct some short-term office closings because of short staff. We had alterations to our fleet management and the way we conducted business, how we traveled in pairs and things like that. And obviously our fire and police had to make some adjustments with how they responded to situations. And then because of the change and the difference in the way people conducted their business, we had some changes to the charges of services and licenses and permits and things that go along with that. So this year, we're proud to announce we have a new website. So we'll be showcasing this and it'll be getting better by the day. But right now, if you were to go to our website, check us out at www.villageofmukwonago.com, you would see a much cleaner way to contact us, to find the information you're looking for. So we're very excited to showcase this. So check us out when you get a chance. As Fred touched on, these are our equalized values. And I think that this is really, really important. He noted we are in the $1 billion club. That's exactly it. $1,037,875,100. There is a difference here. I show on this chart the Walworth County portion and how it's grown, and the Waukesha County portion and how that's grown. Debt service, our total outstanding debt, non-TID, general obligation debt. And I think that this chart is important because it shows not only does the change in equalized value have an effect on that, but it shows that we are still able to pay our bills. So we do have a AA stable Standards & Poor's rating, as President Winchowky noted. And there are some restrictions. So 5% of your equalized value of the taxable property you have is what your limit is on debt capacity. Very briefly, something that changes as the wind blows, but we have a little chart here that kind of shows where our money is coming from and where it's going. So you can see what makes up our revenue stream and the various different categories and where we're spending our money. Certainly, I'm not going to go into specifics, but just wanted to provide a little bit of an overview for you. And historical tax rate. This is the net tax rate. This is all the jurisdictions that lie within the village of Mukwonago. So there's a lot of caveats to this, state aids consideration, a lot of moving parts, but you can see between 2017 and 2018, we had a reval, and then you can see the trend. And then probably in another 3 years, you'll see a big drop again. This year, we launched a digital budget book. So this provides a great deal of transparency to our residents. We're very excited about this launch. Next year, you're actually going to be able to log in, read some narrative about some of those things that are going on, some of our accomplishments, and where we're going on each one of the projects, how it's being funded, all those things. We're very excited about this. Building permits. Fred touched on a lot of different advancements that are going on, developments around the community. But I think that it's, when you see these numbers here, a lot of communities suffered during the pandemic. And I think that we very much held our own. So you can see in 2020, we did have 885 building permits issued. That included 16 new single-family homes and 10 new two-family condos. And in 2021, when things started to slow down this last year, we still had 615 permits. That included 10 new single-family homes and 10 new condos. So the police department was able to tell us some of the challenges they had getting equipment, obviously supply chain issues. This year, we're going to replace some of our fleet and add 3 squads in 2022. And there'll be a speed trailer that we're going to purchase and deploy out based on information and complaints on speeding in various parts of the area. And then, of course, the staffing changes. We also have a lieutenant coming up in the ranks as well. So lots of things going on in our police department, and you can expect a lot of change over the next year. We have a joint village and town fire department, and the fire chief reports that COVID caused them to suspend their public relations events for 2021. They completed a fire department staffing study, and they'll be looking over those recommendations. And they were able to replace a new pumper tender, which replaced 2 other pieces of equipment, and purchased a utility vehicle, which replaced 2 other pieces of equipment. So trying to be creative here a little bit with some of our purchases. Mukwonago Community Library. So this year, the Metaspace 511 change in leadership. Nancy Aycock was hired as a new director, refocused her position as the lead innovator here. We had a new position created called Community Engagement Coordinator. Eric Hummer was hired in August. And still the library has had to deal with the ongoing struggles of COVID, and mainly because of in-person issues, but they are overcoming those challenges with technology and digital usage. And as Fred noted, they are putting out these lockers outside that are going to allow people to come and pick up their product with a code, which is, I think, one place that we don't have that in the state anywhere else right now. So this, the library is going to be working on a new strategic plan, and they're hiring a new circulation supervisor as well. So there is a lot of community outreach going on, and a lot of things you're going to see happen this year with our new library director, Abby. So we're very, very excited about the new things coming forward. Public Works. I wanted to take a moment just to congratulate Ron Bittner on 30 years. You heard me, 30 years. That doesn't really happen anymore, but we're very, very excited about that. And I wanted to draw some attention. So Ron, if you're watching, we appreciate your leadership for those 30 years. Ron reports that Village Crews applied 400 tons of salt for the season, which is actually a reduction of 200 tons from the prior year. So that brine really does help, and we're very, very excited about the innovations that he's able to make there. Street rehabilitation obviously continued. This next year, we touched on the pedestrian lights going in, Miners Park pedestrian bridge, Field Park building renovation, Minnewacan Park bathrooms, and we'll continue work on expansion plans for our DPW operations. Ron also had to get very creative with our operations. So what you see here is a truck that is equipped with a hook ladder and 3 platforms available to use the V-box for salting, chip box for forestry, and a flatbed with an anti-icing unit for pre-treating. So it's like nonstop shopping. We get one vehicle and we get to do all these other things with it. So we're very, very thankful for that. Water and sewer utilities. This year, we have a lot of projects going on that are sort of behind the scenes. They're not always out there in front. You don't always see something from this, but we're conducting our adaptive management plan. And that requires the removal of phosphorus at a cost of $200,000 a year. So that we're really working to be creative and work with area farmers and the DNR to try to make this seamless process for us. Atkinson's lift station will be upgraded and the aeration basins will be upgraded. And we're working on a water meter replacement program. Indian Head Outdoor Performance Stage. This is a beautiful project. It was able to be completed this year within budget. And I hope you all calendar June 4th, 2022 for a Mount Olive concert that will kick off the opening of our Indian Head Performance Stage. And of course, I have to, put a plug in there for the clerk's office. We had so many challenges this year and expanded actually the last 2 years dealing with elections and providing a safe in-person voting opportunity for our residents. So we also not only had conducted in-person voting, we installed Badger Books, which is an electronic poll book. And then we continued to work on the redistricting after the census was halted. So lots of busy work going on. And maybe to put that into perspective, the village has roughly about 5,087 registered voters. And in 2020, we saw over 3,400 absentee ballots. So quite a few. We also wanted to be able to provide residents with live stream of our meetings, the ability to interact. So we're very, very excited about launching these electronic packets with Granicus. If you go onto our website, you can access, you can also subscribe and have them sent to you. We've installed a new audio system, so the meeting itself will be seamless. And it not only serves those who are present, but those who might want to stay home and watch us, because nothing else on TV. We do have LED message center signs that are being installed throughout the village. The police station and fire department have received new LED message centers. The fire departments will be installed and operational by the end of the month. And Field Park will have another one that will be operational sometime this spring. So on this slide, you can see that message center at Field Park, and you can see the nice historic signs that Fred was talking about during his presentation for the Pearl and Grand Historic District. Wayfinding signage and welcome signs, those have been approved by the village board, and we'll be advancing to that next step throughout the village. So those are very nice. Even with all the activity going on this last year, we were able to still hold the Economic Development Summit in August at the high school. Thank you so much. And we had various panelists and information networking. It was still a successful event, even though lightly attended due to all the exterior things we couldn't control. Rupert and Milky was awarded a 2021 Engineering Excellence Award for the Village of Mukwonago Business Park, which they presented to us. Thank you so much for all that hard work and everybody involved. It is a beautiful project and we're very, very fortunate. So I won't spend a lot of time on all the developments that Fred talked about, but looking at pictures sometimes puts things into reality. Showcasing Birch Rock Senior Living, a new 20-unit residential care facility. We have Amon's Beer and Wine, which is a new permitted development for a first floor liquor store, tasting room with terrace and assembly hall on the second floor. This is along Chapman Farms Boulevard, if you've ever been over that way. It's hopefully going to be completed this spring. Pro Health, these are some excellent photos of some of the construction that was a little bit delayed due to COVID, but we're very, very excited that they were able to cut the ribbon this week. 24 new inpatient beds, 100 new jobs, full service kitchen and dining, emergency department, and UW Health Cancer Center. So we are very, very lucky. Espresso Love. So Espresso Love Coffee has been approved for a coffee shop and drive-through on the first floor, an apartment on the second floor at 301 Main Street. If you remember this is the old Clark Station. Village partnered with Espresso Love for remediation and redevelopment, and now we're working on a CDI grant for them as well. So we're very, very excited to see those advancements, so stay tuned. Goodwill of Mukwonago. So Goodwill Industries of Southeast Wisconsin has been approved for an upgraded standard development package for their store, which will face Highway 83 and Wolf Run, and that's set to be completed sometime in 2022. We talked about the Banker Wire expansion. Here's an excellent photo. We're very, very lucky to see 140 employees over 3 shifts working there. So what a great addition to the village. Some of the smaller scale local business improvements, Subway drive-through. Who doesn't want to get a Subway drive-through? So Subway will be moving from Lake Street to Rochester Street, 827 Rochester Street. We've got Lynch Automotive, which is building a 6,000 square foot expansion. Life's Connection at 901 North Rochester. Flurry's Automotive, 6,000 square foot expansion. And then our Circle of Friends thrift shop that opened in the Greenridge Center. Some of the residential developments that President Winchowky hit on are here with some photos, but you can see Chapman Farms is a multi-phased project that's planned an additional 4 single-family homes and 24 two-family homes. Miners Estates Phase 5 has 23 lots remaining and is scheduled to have construction on 19 lots in 2023. Meadowland Townhomes is scheduled for 6 two-family townhome, 12 units. And we're all very anxious and excited for some of the concepts that are moving forward. David Allen Allens has presented a concept for a lower level butcher shop, an expanded restaurant on Bayview Drive. And so the village board will be visiting this shortly. Blue Bay has presented a concept development as well at 927 Main Street, adjacent to the Point Apartments over there. This is a multi-phase development that begins with 53 apartments along with a revitalized Blue Bay restaurant. So at this time, I think I'll take a moment to introduce our new leader who's going to carry us through the next round of challenges that we have. Fred Schook, our new village administrator.
Morning, everyone. I think before I get into just a brief introduction of myself, I want to thank President Fred. I want to thank our trustees. And I certainly want to do a big shout out to Diane and the staff. As you can see, there has been a heck of a lot of work performed this last year. They've done it short-staffed and they've done it in the midst of a global pandemic. So they had a really tough road to hoe this year. And I really want to thank them for all this outstanding work that they've done. So thank you. Thank you very much. You can see how fast stuff has been moving in the village. And that's kind of what my first 3 weeks has been like. Stuff is moving very fast. So it's kind of like been trying to get a sip of water out of a free-flowing fire hydrant. There's a lot coming at us very fast. Well, let me give you a little bit about my own background, so you know a little bit about me. I'm a foundryman and a steel worker. Really was trained in the factories in Milwaukee. When the big layoffs hit in the late 1970s and early 1980s, I started doing workforce development programs for all the folks in the factories who got laid off. I would help them find a job and get them back to work. So I did that for several years. I moved up to Ashland and ran dislocated worker programs and other programs for people to trying to help employers and workers become successful in the labor market. And I did that for about 15, 17 years. I was the mayor of the city of Ashland from 2002 to 2006. That was a real honor. This was then a public administration consultant for about 7 years with Foth, which used to be Foth and Van Dyke. Now it's just Foth. So I provided public administration consultation to municipalities across the Midwest. I have an associate bachelor's and master's degree in public administration. I'm currently working on my PhD in urban studies. Funny thing about that, as I said, I was a steel worker. I was a factory worker. And as I was going through all these layoffs, my wife said, well, you need to go back to school. And I said, well, I'm not one of these suit and tie wearing guys. I don't have an alligator on my shirt. I'm a working man. She said, yeah, but you ain't working. So you're going back to school. So really big kudos to Darlene, who got me back to school, and the school bug bit me. I really love education. So this is a little personal information about myself. I was born in Waukesha in 1962, so I'm very familiar with the Mukwonago area. My family in the 1860s and 70s settled the town of Delafield. There's Edders Lake over there. That's named after my grandmother. The Edders family settled that area. That was her family. Married to Darlene for 40 years, who's a special education teacher and currently going to school to become a special education director. We have 2 grown children, little Darlene. There's doubles at play here. There's some kind of karma going on where we've got 2 Dianas, we've got 2 Freds, we've got 2 Darlenes. At any rate, and then little Ernie, our son. I have a mother who lives in Waukesha, I love her to death, and 2 English bulldogs, Lily and Lumpy. So this is kind of a little bit, but we're thinking about changing the dog's names because boy, she's really a diva, that dog. At any rate, so that's a little bit about me. I'm really looking forward to rolling up my sleeves and being a part of all the great work you're doing. At this point, I'm just in learning mode, kind of learning the goals, the objectives, learning about the finances, learning about the personnel. And I really look forward to becoming part of your community. And I thank the board for the opportunity to do that. If you have any questions, this is my contact information, so please contact me. I'm putting my cell phone number out there for everybody. I expect people to call me if you have any questions. If I don't have the answer, we'll get it to you. We'll get you the right person. Might take a day or 2, but we'll get you the answer. Thank you very much for your time.
Right, we have some time here, and I know we have people online as well as in person. I know Fred and Diana went through a lot of information. If there are questions, we can take, they can take some, not for me, but for them. They can take some questions. So if there are any questions, speak up here in person or put them in the chat if you would like, and I'll just wait 20 seconds or so and see if there are any. Apparently we covered everything. All right, so Rick has a question.
Yes, you had mentioned that Goodwill was coming in. And the lot, will that be facing 83 or will that be facing on Wolf Run?
Can Diane, could you come up forward here, just answer the question?
That would be facing Highway 83.
It will be facing 83, so it's kind of, it will be between, is it going to be up the hill?
Oh, it's right across the street from the gas station, between where the 2-story building is.
They're taking that lot there.
Right, they're taking that vacant lot there.
They are, okay.
It'd be in the farther, the westerly part that they can be, because there's the retention ponds back there.
Right,
So they
right, that's what I
you
wondered.
will be able to see it from Highway 83. And then the driveway will pass through the other building to the south. And so they'll have access to the stop and go light down there.
Thank you, thank you.
I just had a quick question. Fred, you brought up the cost of housing. And I know this goes back a few years now, but there was some thoughts in the village about how we create more affordable housing, especially for first-time home buyers. And at one time, there was some discussion about trying to put smaller, more affordable homes on the land behind St. James Church, developing that. Obviously, that takes purchasing land that's owned by the parish and everything else. But has anything ever gone further with that?
We did look at in the which plan? Looked at three different ways of building subdivisions. And one of them was kind of what we call a condo concept, where they're small buildings on small lots. I don't really know if that's going to take off or not. There is possibilities for that type of thing. But the problem is the land is just so darn expensive, and utilities to go for the lots is so expensive that to build that you're still going to have something that's going to be over $300,000. Even with a small lot, you don't have a basement and all that, and you have to change some of the go. It's a difficult thing.
Yeah, if you can go in front of the camera too.
Sure, put me in front of the camera again.
Yes.
Not fair.
All right.
No, there's no questions. Thank you.
John has one.
Go ahead.
Diana had a slide up there, and then after the slide turned, she mentioned about the borrowing limit being 5% of equalized value.
Mhm.
But the slide had some reference as to what the debt limits or what the borrowings were now. Are we getting close to that limit?
We're close to it, but we're not, boy, how can you say close, but not that close? We are looking at it. We are very conscious of it. Trust me, Diana, finance, I refer to clerk Diana and finance Diana to keep them straight. Finance Diana keeps us very close to that and number, and she lets us know when we're in trouble. And so far, we aren't. But we're aware of it. Evan?
One of the questions online is there any attempt to bring a brew pub / microbrewery into our area? Asking for a friend, smiley face.
And that's Art Schneider. He says there needs to be more inventory as well.
Yeah. We have not been approached by anybody. There are spaces available, but nobody's come forward with any plans for the Plan Commission, so we don't know of any at this time. But Mukwonago's open to it. Obviously, we got some interest in it.
Well, we've had great partnership with East Troy Brewery. I know they're not in Mukwonago, but they're close, so they have good product.
Is there any more work being done on another hotel?
I'm sorry.
Another hotel?
We're still working on it, but a lot of things in that part of the TID 3 is just held up right now. So no, we don't have a lot for them. But we know there is interest in it.
Fred, I'm really excited about the partnerships that businesses are making with the schools.
Yeah.
In terms of job training.
Very good.
And that is crucial. And with Rotary, we've really been a big proponent of
Right.
that. And for the business people that are here and online, please keep that up, because that is instrumental to keeping people in our community and the growth.
Thanks, Rick. I'm glad you picked that out of my presentation, because when I was going over, I didn't do it on purpose, but when I was going over it last night again, I picked out that thread. Almost every one of those businesses or things that I mentioned had some tie-in with the school district. And the school district, I can't stress it enough, Sean, that it really is an important part of the village and why people want to be here. And when you see the involvement of the different businesses with the high school, with the students, it's just a great partnership. It just is. And you just look, the ones that I spoke about today, they're all involved in some way, shape, or form, whether it's Walmart or, whether it's a manufacturer. I mean, they're just involved in it. And the school's ability to want to work with them, that just shows that it's important as well. So that was a thread through that whole thing. There was Mukwonago schools, doing something with Mukwonago schools. Okay, thank you.
Fred, don't go too far, because I have a stand right over there. I'm not done with you yet. I will say that with Rotary, 5 of the $6,000 that we give away in scholarships every year are for technical education, to go to a 2-year tech school. Obviously, great, they go on 4-year college and things like that, but we definitely focus on that. Fred, for 10 years of doing this presentation, I had 20 years in the United States Air Force, and anybody who was in the military knows that coins are a big thing in the military. So I have a Rotary coin for you here. It has the Rotary symbol on the front. February 23rd, 1905 is when Rotary was founded. So it's been many years, and on the back it says, "Join leaders, exchange ideas, and take action." So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so as we close out, we saw that there's big plans for Espresso Love. Dave Stockwell is here in the room, and he provided us with some coffee and some breakfast treats this morning. Thanks to Espresso Love, certainly support that business, and we're looking forward to that empty lot with a fence around it becoming a nice building. Probably not as much as you, right, Dave? So And then thank you all again for coming. We can hope that next year we're a little bit more here in person, but great technology overall worked, and great everybody could be online. There is a recording of this. It's going to be available. If somebody says, oh, I wanted to see that, there's going to be a recording that's going to be out there. So if there's nothing else, we will end the meeting. And as we do in Rotary every meeting, if at least Rotarians can stand, but you're all welcome to stand. We follow the four-way test. And as we leave this meeting and go back out into the world of life and work, of the things that we think, say, and do, let us remember to ask ourselves first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you all. Stay safe. Have a great rest of the week. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody online.
Thank you.